Assalamualaikum and hi everyone, my name is Nur Nabila binti Rashid, my metric number 256389. We are from group 1 and we are going to present about our speech analysis, which the topic is why we should build using wooden skyscraper. The first question is, how does the speaker gain interest from the audience? Okay, at the beginning of the speech, the speaker gained attention by telling the audience about what his grandfather taught him, the idea that if you cut down a tree and turn it into something that turns life and make it as beautiful as possibly you can. Most of the speaker will share a story in their speech in order to get their audience interest. This is because the audience enjoy hearing stories, and they are even interested when the story is directly about the speaker because they get to see the human side of the speaker. Other than that, he thought that he and his grandfather built all buildings around the world out of their office in Vancouver and New York, and they built the buildings of different sizes and styles. The speaker also taught the audience how stunning the buildings are. Next, the speaker emphasized the goods and benefits of the topic where to gain the audience attention. After that, the speaker explained what is wooden skyscraper really about and how it's done and the result using wood on building. The speaker liked to think that wood give Mother Nature fingerprints in their buildings, and he said it's Mother Nature fingerprints that make their buildings connect them to the environment. Last but not least, the speaker asked the audience to imagine with him about the problems and the challenges the architect nowadays will go through to build a house or building using steel or wood. The audience will enjoy hearing two stories based on the imagination that the speaker told. Question number 2. Does the speaker establish his credibility? Yes, the speaker does establish his credibility. He established his credibility by telling the audience he built many buildings around the world of his office in Vancouver and New York using wood based on what his grandfather taught him since childhood. After that, the speaker continues to establish his credibility, followed by mention about how he faced all the problems and challenges to serve these 3 billion people that need home. The speaker needs to let the audience know about their knowledge, experience, and insight to demonstrate their leadership in the speech. For example, the speaker acts clearly and confidently to talk about the solution that he made to solve the problem, which he thinks if you take that wood and you put it into a building or a piece of furniture or into a wooden toy, it actually has an amazing capacity to store the carbon and provide us a sequestration. In addition, according to Mann 2017, said if the speaker speaks clearly and act confidently, it's likely your audience will view you as a credible speaker.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, my name is Muhammad Fatih Aizad bin Mustafa Kamil and my metric number is 259188. Okay, I will continue the question number 3, 4 and 5. So for the question number 3, does the speaker preview the body of his speech? Okay, for the preview of the body, we can see that clearly the speaker preview the body of his speech as he reveals some hints about the topic before he get into the main point. So there are so many ways to create the preview of the body. For example, based on the video, the speaker give statistic about the greenhouse gas emission that have been produced by the building. So he mentioned that the challenge or the problem will appear when we move to the cities. Because of what? Because of the cities have been built by two material, and these two materials are very good or very best material in this world. It is steel and concrete. Okay, but there is some bad impact for the environment. It is the steel will produce 3%, about 3% the greenhouse gas emission, and concrete will produce 5%. So these two best material will produce greenhouse gas emission for our environment, and this is the bad impact of these two materials. For the question number 4, what are the main point of the speech? Okay, as we know, the most important key that any speaker needs to emphasize is their speech was the main point. Okay, by doing this, it will help the audience to understood about the content of the speech. Okay, for the first point, for the first main point is the speaker state the problem that had been faced by Earth right now. Okay, it is serving those 3 billion people that need a home and the climate change. Okay, so the speaker mentioned about the problem that is he mentioned that currently 1 in the 3 people who live in today's cities actually live in a slum. Okay. For the point number 2, he gave a solution about the problem earlier. The problem is how to serve the 3 billion people and the climate change. So the solution is by using the wood, it will help to build the house for the 3 billion people, and we can reduce the climate change by using these woods as the material of the building. For the question number 5, how the main point are supported. So throughout the whole speech, the speaker support his main point by give a brief example and statistic. So for the brief example, the speaker mentioned that the people live in the city will rise up about 75%, and it means the building will be become large, and he thinks that wood will play the main role in the cities in the future. And he said in next 20 years 3 billion people in the world will need a new house. So he thinks the wood is the best option to replace the steel and concrete to make sure the greenhouse gas emission did not increasingly produce. Moreover, the speaker used statistics, and he mentioned nearly half of the greenhouse gases linked to the building industry. So as we note that the transportation is the second after the building industry, and many of us thought that the transportation is the lead of the greenhouse gases in our environment. So he illustrate the greenhouse gas lead by the building industry that is made by the steel and the concrete. This is how he support his main point, that he think that the woods is the best option for the steel and for the concrete.
Hi, a very good morning everyone. My name is Fei Wong Jiaqi, metric number 253041, and now I would like to proceed on question 6, the type of organization that the speaker used. He uses problem solution order where he divides his information into 2 main points. The first one he explained about the problem, the second one he came up with the solution to the problem. So firstly, he mentioned about what the problem is all about. He explained that in order to fulfill this increasing housing demand, we need to build more buildings. But however, if we build more buildings, then the greenhouse gases emission will increase. So there's a head-on collision between meeting this housing demand and this environmental effect. So in his second point, he came up with a solution. He explained that we can use wood in buildings because wood, they can store carbon. So if they can store carbon, then we can release this greenhouse gases emission into the atmosphere. So this problem solution order, it is very useful in persuasive speech because the speaker, he first came up with a problem, and explained it in very detail, and then he came up with a solution to the problem. So if the solution is very reasonable and acceptable, achievable, then it can easily convince the audience to support the ideas proposed by the speaker. Question 7. How does the speaker uses the resources of language? So firstly, he uses a very clear and simple language so that everyone can understand what he is trying to explain. So because his speech is mostly about architectural stuff, so he cannot assume that all of the audience can understand all the architectural terms. So in that case, he used this simple language so that everyone can understand what he's trying to explain, besides prevent misunderstandings. So the second one, he also uses this technique called simile in this sentence, where he compared 2x4 constructions to Lego bricks that we used to play as kids. So this kind of technique gives a clearer image to the audience of what the speaker is trying to explain. So after that, he also uses this technique called personification, where he gives human qualities to non-human objects. In this sentence, he mentioned that woods, they are Mother Nature's fingerprints. So this kind of technique, it gives more vividness to the sentence, making it sound more lively. Question 8. The type of connectives. So there are two main connectives being used by the speaker in his speech. The first one is transition. So he uses transition in a sentence that sounds that challenge means we have to start thinking in new ways, and I think that wood is going to be a part of the solution. In this sentence, the speaker is trying to direct the audience attention from problem to solution. So the main function of transition is to allow the flow of one point to another point smoothly. The second connective that he used is internal preview, where he quickly highlights the point that will be discussed under a specific point. Like, for example, at one stage of his presentation, although he haven't really explained about the solution yet, but he quickly gives a hint that wood is going to be a part of the solution. So maybe the audience can be like, oh, maybe the wood is going to play a role in the solution or something. They can get an idea on what the speaker will explain, so they can easily follow up the speaker as he proceeds with his speech. And I guess that's all from me. Thank you.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Shirley Saidin. My metric number is 256980. Okay, I would like to continue with question 9. The question is, what kind of argument do most speakers make throughout their speech? Okay, from the question, the descriptions of this speech is more of an argument in the from speakographic. Okay, speakographic analysis that refer to the value, view, and attitude and belief from the audience. Okay, based on the analysis, Gordon's purpose speech begin with a statement from a person's life story. The speaker also said, "My grandfather taught me to work in the wood when I was a little boy, and he also taught me the idea that if you want to cut down the tree, you must turn into something." Okay, from this statement, this show the grandfather always want to support the grandchild make something special with using wood when he want to cut down the tree. This argument of a speakography is supported by Grice, G.L. and Skinner from 2009 that said the pieces present argument from the value that they are fundamental to belief, attitude, and behavior. By using this, a speaker also can engage the audience and make them accept that, also make them to understand the argument more better. Next, the question 10 is, what kind of emotions appeal have to speaker use? Okay, based on the question, the speaker used the better type spiel to the audience by creating the audience emotion by establishing emotional bond with the listener. The emotions is used effectively by the speaker as the audience and also may experience
the quality of life experience such as sadness, sympathy, and love. For example, the speaker captivates the listener by creating an extraordinary feeling on the word that they want to convey through the feeling of saying, I never seen anybody walk into once of my building and hug a still of someone column, but if actually since that's happened is a worse building. The speaker also raises awareness within each listener by saying Mother Nature fingerprints that make our building connect to nature in the built environment. This makes easier for the audience to hear the agreement as directly and also easier. From the question 10, the question is what methods are used to prepare the audience for ending the speech. In this speech, the speaker uses expansion method to end the speech. And at the end of the talk, the speaker talks about the first skyscraper to be the pride of the people. He also said the first tower to be built was Gustave Eiffel before the Eiffel Tower was built, and as a result of the construction of the Eiffel Tower, it has changed the landscape of the country life in New York and Chicago, where developers have begun to build a large and larger building that have evolved into the match. The speaker also expressed his wish hope they could make recover the world building in the future. He also expressed a convenience in the race to create a building that compatible to other buildings.
The third question is, how does the speaker reinforce the central idea? Okay, the speaker reinforces the central idea through summarize his speech method. For example, he restates to believe that wood is the most technologically advanced material that he can build with. It just happens to be that Mother Nature holds the patent and we don't really feel comfortable with it. We are starting to push the height out of these wood buildings and we are hoping, and I'm hoping that my hometown of Vancouver actually potentially announce the world's tallest at around 20 stories in not so distant future, the speaker said. Last but not least, the most common means to the summary is a safe method, even it is least interesting and least compelling. That's all from me. Thank you.